Hello, I'm Jaren, and in this video we'll use Ableton's Arpeggiator to take these chords and turn them into a melody. This technique will work with any chord progression. This one uses two chords. The first chord is F, add 2, F, G, A, and C. The second chord is B flat, add 2, B flat, C, D, and F. Next, let's add some rhythm to these chords. Syncopation is a rhythm that emphasizes the weak beats. A simple way to approach this is by using odd numbers. We'll use a group of 5 eighth notes. Combining this with the even group of 4 played by the kick drum makes the music less predictable. This element of surprise is what makes the music groove. Let's use rhythmic anticipation to make this pattern less repetitive. Rhythmic anticipation is when you move a musical element so that it happens before you expect it to. Let's move some of these chords so that they happen 1 or 2 16th notes earlier. Having the drums and bass emphasize beat 1 is a good way to give your music rhythmic stability. When it comes to chords and melodies, avoid the downbeat. Let's add Arpeggiator and transform these chords into melodies. With the chords sustained, we get a typical Arpeggiator effect. Each mode indicates a different pattern of triggering the incoming notes. There are 3 types of random patterns at the bottom of the list. Random, which produces a continuously randomized sequence. Random other, which creates random patterns but does not repeat notes until all the other notes have been used. And random once, which creates a random pattern that then repeats until the next chord is triggered. We will be using random other to get a new note every time the chord is triggered. To get a more melodic result, shorten all the chords so that they only last for 1 eighth note. The Arpeggiator will play one note randomly selected from the chord each time it's triggered. Use your instrument's release parameter to adjust the note length. If the instrument you're using doesn't have this parameter, you can use the note length device placed after the Arpeggiator. Here's what it sounds like with the full drum pattern and bass line. You can enhance the melodic character by switching from polyphonic mode to monophonic mode so that only one note is played at a time. Polyphonic mode allows the instrument to produce more than one note at a time and often allows you to specify the amount of notes, referred to as voices. The term voices refers to one of the oldest instruments that could play more than one note at a time, a group of singers, or chorus. Don't confuse the shortening of monophonic to mono with mono as in mono verse stereo. They can look the same in Ableton, but are completely different. Now that we've got Arpeggiator creating melodies, let's record the results into a separate MIDI track. Create a new MIDI track, set the input to the track with the Arpeggiator, and arm the track. Now record. Now, as the arpeggiator generates randomized melodies from our chords, we can capture the results. By duplicating the arpeggiator track, we can start to rebuild the notes of the chords, but with different note placements. These different note placements are called chord voicings. When we have two tracks playing, it creates a melody and counter melody. With three tracks, we hear all but one note of the chords each time it's triggered. With four tracks, we'll hear every note of the chord. The randomness of the arpeggiator will sometimes result in multiple tracks playing the same note. In this case, you won't hear the full chord. You can also change the octave of the tracks so that the chords span a larger area. These are called open voicings. Add the pitch MIDI effect to one of the tracks and set it to +12 so that it sounds an octave higher. Here's the whole sketch. In addition to melodies and chord voicings, you can use this technique to create any element that you want to derive from your harmony, such as bass lines or tuned percussion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.